And all right. तो हिली फैमिली, आप सबका स्वागत है इस नए सेशन में जहां हम बात कर रहे हैं हीली, मैग हीली एंड वेलनेस। सो इसके पहले सेशन में मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं। और आज हमारे साथ एक स्पेशल गेस्ट है जो बहुत सारी चीजों में उनके पास महारत है। शी इज एक्सपर्ट इन मेनी एस्पेक्ट्स, राइट? सो अगर मैं बताऊं कि आज की डेट में द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट with frequency healing, with frequency medicine, is to understand how holistically you can support yourself with this beautiful technology. So, before I call on the guest, this expert, let me speak a few words about her. Like, so the first of all, she is a professional who has 30 plus years of experience, and by profession she is a chartered accountant who has done her CPA from US, and she was based in Dubai for more than 25 years. She has spent a major chunk of her life in Dubai, and the last assignment that she was holding was of a director in one of the big four companies. So the company name is Accenture. She was a director there. And talking about, so this is about the financial career that she has. And yes, she is a financial expert. And she has, after that, she has evolved herself and learned homeopath, naturopath, as well as Ayurveda. She is a expert in teaching mind power and manifesting goals. So there are a lot, and actually I can go on and on and on. So without taking much of the time, let me invite her on the virtual screen. So I would request all of you to, yes, put a big round of applause and welcome Sunila ma'am on the virtual screen. Welcome, ma'am. Can I
Thanks so
request
much, Ram. I'm so happy to be here amongst all of you. Really looking forward to this session and would appreciate your feedback, your questions. Let it be interactive. I mean, you can type in the chat all your questions, whatever.
right?
I'll do my best to answer them.
Perfect, ma'am. So the chat is on. Sunila ji is there. Let me just share the slide. I have a beautiful presentation. Perfect. So the first slide is all about ma'am. So as you can see, meditation and seva, she is very much connected with Shri Ravi Shankar ji, Gurudev ji. And yes, I know Anush, who is her son and who is a doctor who is doing his specialty in pediatric surgery. So I know sir also, Hanif sir. So he is a jolly good person. And yes, I have interacted a lot of time with ma'am and with the and also associated with the seva. And this is what is really something great that ma'am is doing for the humanity. So, ma'am, over to you now to take the session forward.
Okay, let's move to the next slide, Ram. So, I know the subject is gut health. But before I actually get into the gut health, I thought I'll give you a more holistic view of how our bodies are structured, how many bodies we really have in the sense, how they are structured, and how frequency medicine can help us. And then, go deeper into Healy and the program groups, the actual programs that can heal gut health and whatever. Okay, so we'll get started. And the next slide, please. So, what is really frequency medicine? I think quite a few of you already know this, and I hope it's not, going to be boring for you. But for those who don't know it, see, for us, all of us are actually made up of what? Blood and bones and muscles and organs and tissues and everything, right? But on another level, we're only energy. We're just made up of atoms. In fact, everything in this world, right? Everything, the somethingness, that means all the objects, the buildings, the trees, the human beings, the animals, and also the nothingness, like the air, everything, the vacuums, everything is nothing but energy. It's all only atoms and only vibrations. And energy affects us in different ways, right? It affects us in positive ways. There's positive energy, there is neutral energy, and there's negative energy also. Okay, even our thoughts are nothing but impulses of energy. Even the geopathic vibrations of the land where we are, or of the plot of land on which you're standing or sitting, or even the planetary influences, everything is nothing but a vibration. Okay, now groups of atoms, they vibrate at different speeds. Those speeds are called frequencies. Okay, and how are these frequencies assimilated in our body? You see, when we eat food, we eat good nutrition, we eat medicines, what happens? It goes into our gut, and from the small intestine, it gets absorbed. So, what really gets absorbed? The essence of the food, the essence of the medicines we eat gets absorbed. And what is that? That is nothing but frequencies. So, that energy goes to our cells. At a cell level, there's nothing but energy, and it goes to our cells, and the transportation is various means, the lymphatic system, the blood system, the circulatory system. There's so many ways, right, for it to go. Okay, but basically we are nothing but energy. Okay, with age, or also with ill health, our absorption capacity of the small intestine goes down, and that is why we sometimes start having health issues, or we become weaker also. Even though we are eating well, we are having good supplements also and everything, we still become weaker. So frequency medicine is about giving these frequencies directly, because sometimes the food and medicines that you eat, the frequencies of that are not properly absorbed. So our frequency medicine here via Healy and Maghealy is giving the same frequencies directly to you, and the body just accepts them, assimilates them, and then it goes down into a cellular level. Next slide, please. So our body, we know as our body as a physical body, right? But actually the physical body is sitting inside the aura. And what is the aura? The aura is a sheet, so many sheets around us. It's not one sheet around us, it is several sheets. So in all, they say there are about 5 koshas or sheets around us. So the first one is our physical body. It's called Annamaya kosha. Anna means food. It's the body that eats food. Okay. And immediately after that, okay, this sheet here is the Pranamaya kosha, okay, which is the energy body. See, a body may be healthy, all the organs working, but if there is no prana, the life force, if it doesn't exist, it is dead. So Pranamaya kosha is something that is very important for a healthy body. Okay. Next sheet after that, the outer sheet after that is the Manomaya kosha, which is your mind. So your mind being your thoughts, your belief systems, your emotions, your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, entire thing. And then the sheet beyond that is the Vijnanamaya kosha, which is actually our karmic body, the causal body. That means that's the karma we carry. Karma is nothing but our entire, the whole gambit of our thoughts and our belief systems and our destiny. Okay, so that is contained in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then when you transcend all this, like when you're enlightened, an enlightened master, his energy is in the Anandamaya Kosha, because this whole consciousness is supposed to be a blissful consciousness, actually. Okay, so we'll continue to the next slide. So what is our aura? Other than our physical body, which is also called the Annamaya Kosha, all the other koshas are part of our aura. The physical body is actually inside the aura. So it is like the wick of a candle, and the aura is like the wax around the wick. Okay. Now, generally, aura is around 12 inches, about a foot around the physical body. But as one evolves, spiritually, as one calms down and one's aura expands, okay, and it grows and grows and becomes larger. So I know some Swamijis whose aura is like, maybe even 40 feet, 50 feet. And my Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankar ji, his aura, they tried to measure it. Some Germans had come to measure it and they couldn't measure it. So they put in an estimate of about 45 kilometers. So auras can be so healing because they're so huge and they're healing such a large society, large group of people or land mass or whatever. So continue. Yeah. Now, in Healy, when we are talking about frequency medicine, we always use this term, right? Bioenergetic field. So what is exactly this bioenergetic field? The bioenergetic field is our physical body. It's also our energy body, which is the Pranamaya Kosha. That's the part of the aura. And the Manomaya Kosha, which is also part of the aura, which is our mind. Okay. So bioenergetic field is the body, of course, plus part of the aura. Okay. It includes our emotions, our thoughts, our conscious mind, and everything. Okay. Next one. So what is the mind actually? So if you go deeper and deeper into this, you realize that the mind is the root of your cosmos. Your entire life, your entire being is nothing but controlled by your own mind. So what you see, your world, is nothing but what your mind has created for you. So the mind is the essence of everything. It's the root of the cosmos, and it influences everything. Okay, and the mind is influenced by the karmic body, which is the soul body. Okay, so it's influenced by that. Okay, so next slide. Okay, but the mind is very flimsy. The mind is never, we have the past, we have the future, and we have the present moment, right? When is the mind in the present moment? Very, very rarely. When we were children, we were more in the present moment. But as we grow older, we are always in our own minds rather than in this moment. And where are we? Generally, our mind is like a pendulum. It is, oscillating between the past and the future memories, the past memories and the worries of the future. Okay. So the natural tendency of the mind is not to cling to the positive, but to cling to the negative. We should all know this because it takes an effort for us to be negative. And that effort should be put because the natural tendency of the mind is to cling to the negative. Example, if somebody gives you, 10 compliments and then one bad thing, what will your mind sit with? You will only sit with that one negative and say, why did that person say this? So this is how it is. So in the past, when we're thinking of the past, we have anger, we have regret, we have hatred, we have jealousy, all negative emotions. And when we are worried about our future, we have fear, tension, worry, anxiety, and all that. But when are we in the present moment? Only when I snap my fingers. And if I snap my fingers like this, and this particular moment, where are you? Where are you? You're in the present moment. And in the present moment, you will only chill. You don't have any other thoughts. So I'm getting a message saying start my video. Ram.
Just a minute, ma'am. I'm helping. Okay, can you can you just click? Perfect.
Okay, next slide, please.
Okay.
So now that I've explained the background of this, I want you to understand what is Healy and what is Maghealy. Both these devices, Healy is for an individual, for individual usage. And Maghealy is for a group of people or a whole room of people, you know. And both these devices are holistic. They treat all the koshas. I mean, they treat the physical body, of course. They treat the prana body, the energy body. They treat the mind body. They treat the causal body, which is the karmic body. They treat at all these levels. Medicine, general medicine that we have, whether it's Ayurveda or allopathic or homeopathic or whatever, is limited generally to the physical body, mostly. Sometimes with the prana body or with the mind body, but mainly with the physical body. But Healy is more complete. Maghealy and Healy are more complete, and they address us at various levels. And that is the whole essence of proper healing and deeper healing. We continue. This message is still coming, Ram, for me to start
Actually,
the
got
video.
your camera got switched off, ma'am. So I'm just sending you again. Yeah.
Okay. So, now how does frequency medicine basically work, right? So, we all know energy cannot be created or cannot be destroyed, but energy can be transformed, which means negative energy can be transformed to positive energy and vice versa. What does Healy do? Healy transforms negative energy to positive energy. Okay. Now, Healy and Mag Healy, both of them, together, are so powerful in many ways that, as time goes on and, as we grow older and whatever, if we continue to use Healy and Maghealy, it changes our metabolic age. You see, we come with a certain birth time and we come with a certain death time, they say, right? I mean, healthy people have also died. Okay, so you can't say that it's only illness or some issue that causes death. The time of death is something they say we come with. Okay, but during this time we can live a healthy life. And whenever, generally as we grow older, our biological age does not match our metabolic age. So, for example, I'm 60 years old, yeah, 60 and a little more, but my biological age is 60, but generally, some people could be operating at 50 metabolically, or maybe even 70 metabolically. Now, that means, you're either healthier than you should be, which is a great thing, or you're worse off than you should be, age wise. So, what Healy and Maghealy do is something very, very beautiful. It is almost like, I won't say reverse aging, but it's almost like reverse aging. Okay. And, it retains your youthfulness. I have worked with a lot of older people, even people over 80, with this. And once I worked with them, with regular daily usage of Healy, I've seen their metabolic age drop, their health improves significantly, and they even start looking younger, and they feel younger, of course. So that helps you lead a healthier life. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah. So I was just saying, Healy works at a cellular level. Now, let me explain a little about this aspect. How many cells do we have? You know, they say women generally have 28 trillion cells, 28 trillion, and men generally have 37 trillion cells. And cells always get replaced, you know, at any point in time, your body is replacing certain sets of cells. Not all the cells get replaced at one moment, but certain groups of cells get replaced over time. And generally, they do. If that is the case, then why are we not completely healthy? Because we're getting new cells. So why does disease not go very easily? That is because there's something called a membrane. Around every cell, there is something called a cell membrane. And the cell membrane stores the details, the parameters of that cell, it stores in that cell membrane. Okay. So the cell membrane has a certain voltage model. So generally, as generally a good cell, a new cell is say around 70 MV. Okay, that's the measurement parameter used, okay, to measure it. So 70 MV, it's a good cell. And then it starts aging. So after 50, it is generally starts aging. And then what starts happening? You get aches and pains, and inflammation starts after that. Then you have bigger swellings, so edemas, and sometimes they start bleeding, and you start having blood loss, internal, external, whatever. And then you have tumors start happening, and some of them can be cancerous. So cells start dividing, cancerous cells, and it spreads, basically, and then the cell dies. But when the cell dies, let's say the cell was at the stage when there was a tumor, okay, the new cell will still come with the tumor. Why? Because the membrane has stored the data, okay, of when the cell died. But what Healy does is Healy starts giving you, start Healy, and Healy starts treating you. So while that cell is good, maybe, it will start dropping. The MV starts dropping. So, dropping means it starts improving actually. So instead of being at the level of a tumor cell, let's say it goes down to the level of an edema cell. Okay, so edema cells are better than a tumor cell for sure, right? So edema cell, at that moment, let's say, when it is, I don't know, something, say around, 30 or whatever, MV, the cell dies. New cell will come at 30 MV, which means it's at the edema's level. And then you're continuing Healy. So Healy will continue healing you. And then maybe the next time the cell dies, you're maybe at the level where you have aches and pains, so it is, say, much better, say it's at 40 or whatever, and then it dies and the new cell comes at 40. And then Healy continues healing you, healing you, healing you. And then the new cell, when it dies, the new cell will maybe come at 70 because it's a good cell. What happens then? That means your disease has disappeared. And this is how it works. It's not something that I would call a one-day wonder. No. Daily, regular usage is what does the trick. But it really works. I mean, I've had a lot of patients where, we had serious problems, and over time they've got reduced and reduced and reduced, and people are healthier and healthier and healthier and happier along with it. Next cell, please. Next one, slide. So we understood what are frequencies. We understood how these frequencies work. We understood at a cellular level what it does. But on a general level, let me explain what it really does, okay? So it increases our amino acids, okay? The work of the amino acids, transportation, it increases by 40%. It increases the protein synthesis, which is, the building of new cells, by 70%. okay, and it increases our energy levels in the cells, okay. Adenosine triphosphates is nothing but the energy in the cells, okay. The energy in the cells is increased by 500%. Now remember, we are all energy. We are nothing but energy. And when this energy goes up, and it goes up from with positive energy, I mean, can you imagine how much good it's doing to you? Not just for your physical body, but all the sheets that I've explained to you, which is your aura as well. Okay. Next one, please. Okay. So now that I've explained, given you a background of this, I want to come back to the real topic for today, which is our gut health. So where is our gut? It starts, our gut gets influenced from the very time at which we're supposed to eat, isn't it? So the time which we are going to eat, the memory of the food, or seeing the food physically, or smelling the food, or touching the food, all that starts having an effect on our gut health. And our gut will start secreting certain enzymes and certain, acids and certain, ingredients which is required to digest our food. Okay. So gut health starts even when we think of the food. Okay. And our gut gets affected. And the gut, so when we start eating the food, the saliva is helping us. It's an enzyme which helps us to digest the food, and then we swallow it. It goes down our esophagus down to the stomach, and then the liver is helping the stomach with so many enzymes and whatever, and then it goes to the small intestine, then goes to the large intestine, and then it is excreted out. Okay. The small intestine is basically absorbing all the goodness, which is nothing but the energies, the frequencies of the food we've eaten. And the large intestine is processing it to be eliminated, whatever is left. Okay. What is affected by gut? Our gut affects everything. Everything in our body, all our mind, our energy levels, our karma, our souls, our soul health, our physical body health, everything affects our gut. And what does the gut affect? It affects everything again. So, everything that we eat, everything what we do, all the entire gut health, it's a vicious cycle. Okay, this is something that you have to know. That is why be very careful of what you put inside your body, what you eat. Sometimes you eat something just because it tastes good, but be careful because, it affects you at many, many levels. Okay, even your skin, even people who have, skin issues, remember, it is nothing but a reflection of your own tummy, of your own gut. Next slide, please. So how does stress affect us? So the brain-gut axis is very, very strong, okay? So when we get stressed, the neurons and everything in the brain affect the gut. And where does it affect the gut? You see, in our gut, we have all kinds of bacteria. We have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria. So in terms of bacteria, some of these bacteria are called microbes, okay? Now, the good microbes are very necessary because they help us heal and they help us, do the right digestion, okay, and send the right frequencies to the rest of the body, to our cells, okay? But when we are stressed, it affects us so much, okay, that some of these microbes which are good go down and the microbes which are bad go up. So bad bacteria increases, the good bacteria decreases. What does that do in turn? Again, it will give you stress. Because when you're not healthy, you get stressed. It affects your mind. Okay, so it's a vicious cycle. Stress leads to gut health problems. Gut health problems leads to stress. Do you know that people, who have problems with their mind, like, maybe autism or ADHD or even epilepsy, the whole essence of that problem is actually in your gut. You heal the gut completely, and then you can heal your mind completely. How much healing can happen depends on how much damage has happened. Of course, but Healy, I have worked with people with mental disorders, ADHD, autism, epilepsy also, but I'm not much with epilepsy, but with all these. And I have seen good results, very, very good results when you solve the brain gut axis. Okay. So stress is what causes problems everywhere. Next, we are what we eat. Be very careful what you eat. Okay. Remember, today the food is not so good. There are all kinds of adulteration with the food. So we need to be very careful how we wash our food, how we wash the ingredients that go into our food. The water we drink is acidic. So how to alkalize it, so that, you're not drinking, acidic food all the time and acidic water also all the time. So it's very, very important for you to do these things. But what does Healy do? Healy works with our body to reduce the acid or to increase the acid as it is needed, and also to increase the alkalinity of our body and the, whether we need it or not, to reduce it or increase it. Healy works with us with that. Okay. Next slide, please. So just before we go a little further, I want to explain what is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. In Ayurveda, they say we have these three elements to our system. What is Vata? Vata is nothing but the air in our body. Where is the air? The air is everywhere in our body. Okay, it's not just our breath. There is air in our tummies also, which is why we call it flatulence or gas trouble, bloating, whatever. Okay, air does not just sit in the stomach. Okay, it can go to various parts of our body. All aches and pains mostly are nothing but trapped air pockets in our joints or wherever. Yeah. So vata causes a lot of problems with the mind also. So the higher the vata, higher the air in your system, the more the thoughts in your system. Now, what more the thoughts in your system, remember, thoughts are generally negative. Okay, very rarely we have, on our own, without any effort, positive thoughts. So when vata increases, negative thoughts also increase, which affect our body and our aura negatively again. What is pitta? Pitta is the fire in our body. Where is the fire? It's the digestive enzymes, the digestive acids. Okay. Pitta can be, if too much pitta is there, too many acids are there, it will go into our bloodstream, and then there are huge problems. It can all the gels which are there naturally stored by our body in our joints and all can get eroded, and that is what also creates problems with our joints and everything. Okay. Pitta can also cause huge problems with the mind and the brain function. Okay. So it's very important for pitta also to be controlled. Just the right vata, just the right pitta, and just the right kapha. What is kapha? Kapha is the mucus in our body. Where is the mucus? Well, yes, it's in the lungs for sure, but mucus can also be in various parts of our body, especially in our gut. Okay. So it's very important. It's also a cooling mechanism. Kapha is also a cooling mechanism for the body. Okay. So we need to have all these three elements of our body very much balanced. Okay. Healy does a fantastic job of balancing these three doshas. Next slide, please. So now that I've explained all this and given you a background on all this, I would like to go deeper now into the actual Healy programs, okay, which can help you with your gut health. Okay, so I've not listed all the programs in the meridians, but I've listed down only the programs which you can use for your gut health. Okay, so meridians, we have two meridian program groups, Meridian 1 and Meridian 2. In meridian 1, you have the bladder, large intestine, small intestine, fatty degeneration, gallbladder, and the heart. Now let me go deeper into that. If you are using Heal Advisor Analysis app, which is nothing but a scanning tool, and then which you can then vibrate those scans to you for healing. Now, when you use that tool, when you use that app, it can tell you what is exactly wrong with you. And it might throw up, one of these problems for you, one of these programs for you. That means you have a problem with your bladder, your large intestine, or whatever, right? And then you will be prompted to take those. But I need to explain something. Sometimes, these things that the scan throws up is because that is the biggest problem right the moment, but that may not be the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem may be another organ. Okay, for example, a bladder is the final thing, okay, that emits the urine, okay, stores and emits the urine, okay. But bladder may be showing as a problem, and it's because it's the biggest problem right now, one of the bigger problems right now in your body. Okay, that is why it's showing in the scan, in the analysis from the Heal Advisor analysis tool. Okay, but the real problem could be the kidney. Okay, so you need to work further with yourself and identify such things and start healing yourself, not just at a bladder level, but also at a kidney level. The large intestine, I have worked with quite a few patients with colon cancer or colon tumors as well. And I can tell you for sure that in the large intestine, with regular daily usage, I have seen these tumors reducing significantly. Significant reductions have happened. Okay, and I am personally also one of the recipients of this beautiful treatment. Okay, then you have the small intestine. When the small intestine improves, your absorption capacity improves. The absorption of your nutrients from the food you eat or the medicines you eat will be absorbed better. Okay, fatty degeneration. Generally, it's the liver. It could also be the kidneys. Okay, but when your liver is fatty, you can't digest because liver is not able to secrete the right enzymes or the right acids to you. So it's very, very important that if you get a fatty degeneration thing showing up in your scan, then you must use this program. It's absolutely, it's a miracle program. It works like magic. Okay, so fatty degeneration is something that I have used with my patients. I do a lot of health related seva. So I've used them with my patients for, when they have fatty livers and things like that. And the gallbladder, again, I'll give you a case that I had. I had a call at 11 o'clock at night of a person who had a huge gallbladder stone which was, a few inches, quite a few inches in size. And it was very, very painful. And he had tried all treatments and it wouldn't reduce. And he called me and he hadn't tried Healy. So a friend of his who is like actually more than a friend, he's like a mentor to that guy, was using Healy. So he called me at 11 o'clock at night and said, this guy is in huge pain and gallbladder, and he's, right now we are at a place where we cannot have access to a hospital. Can you help? So I told him, okay, just start Healy and use the gallbladder program. And he used the gallbladder program. So when it finishes, you can do it again. So he did it again, and then again 3 times in a row. And then, the pain went away. And to this date, it's been 2 years now, there's no pain. And he hasn't actually, I keep telling the patient that he needs to go and have a scan done, a proper CT scan done or whatever to see, or an ultrasound to see, whether the stone still exists or not. But he says, I'm perfectly healthy. I don't have any pain. I don't have any problems. So this is how a gallbladder program can also help. The heart program. I had a patient whose mother-in-law needed to have an operation, and the mother-in-law was 80 years old, and the doctor refused because her heart was weak. So my friend didn't have Healy, so I gave her my Healy, and I said, listen, thrice a day, just give her heart, the Meridian Heart Program, thrice a day. And then after a week, take her back to the doctor and see whether she's improved, and whether he'll operate. So she did just that. And when the doctor saw the patient after a week, the doctor said, oh my God, he said, I told you I can't operate on this patient. Why have you come? It's going to be useless. So she said, no, no, we've been working at it. So why don't you do the tests again? And he did the test and he was very pleasantly surprised. And he said, look, her heart has significantly improved. So I'm going to operate her tomorrow morning. So retain her in the hospital and tomorrow morning I'll operate. And he operated. And then he came out, and then, my friend is also his patient. So he came out and he said to her, her heart is better than yours. And my friend was a, 40, 50-year-old girl, and her mother-in-law was an 80-year-old patient. So this is what, this program can do to you. Now, the Meridian 2 programs, circulation, liver, lymphatic system, stomach, spleen, pancreas, kidney, organ meridian. Miraculous programs. You have constipation, please use circulation. Circulation, with a few days of using circulation regularly, constipation issues will go away. Of course, that doesn't mean you should drink less water. You have to continue to hydrate yourself with a lot of water. Water should be drunk sip by sip, not that gada 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 way we drink normally, No, it has to be sip by sip. Between every sip, there has to be 2 seconds gap. Okay, at least a 2-second gap. Because otherwise, just the way you drink it quickly, it will get emitted out very quickly. So it doesn't really, the body is not able to retain it. Okay. Now, circulation program works on many, many counts, not just for constipation. It works for the entire circulatory system also of your body. It helps also with, the circulation between the organs of the body. Okay, and it's another miraculous program. I think every person over the age of 40 needs to do circulation once a day via Healy. Okay. Now, the liver is the main organ of the body. So liver programs, it's brilliant. Healy is brilliant with liver programs, but it needs to be used regularly. And if you have a fatty liver, then use the fatty degeneration also. Okay. Lymphatic system, this is the system which carries the dirt from our bodies, right? So if the lymphatic system is bad, then edemas will start, inflammations will start, and the body starts getting swelled up in various areas. Okay. So cleansing of the lymphatic system is very important. I had a patient who was suffering from 4th stage cancer. He had multiple tumors in the whole abdomen, and his lymphatic system was so bad that his entire legs were so fat that he couldn't actually wear even his pajamas. And he was in bed all the time. And with this lymphatic system, and there's also a lymphatic program in digital nutrition, by using these 2 programs, we actually helped him so much that all the lymph, got cleared, and, the swelling in his legs went away, and he began to not just be in bed, but he began to walk, and a lot of more healing happened with the tumors and all also. But the lymphatic system, basically, it's also a very, very good program. Okay. The stomach is the first area where the digestion happens other than in the mouth, right? Okay, at mouth, the saliva is coated and the digestion starts there. But the stomach is the place where all the enzymes come in, and, the body starts assimilating the enzymes and the acids and everything and digesting the food. Now, it's very important to know one thing. There are certain foods which you cannot digest very easily. So when you can't digest very easily, the body will secrete more acids. The more acids that are secreted in the body, they are killing your microbes. They're even killing your prosperity genes, your prosperity frequencies. Okay, so those, for example, who have a lot of acidity problems will also get financial problems. This is the things that I have noticed in life. And why is that? Because too much acidity in the tummy is getting rid of our prosperity frequencies. Okay. Now, it's very, very important for us to digest well. So, avoid foods that cause acidity. I'll give you few examples. Non-vegetarian food, especially red meats, sugar, white sugar, very, very, it has certain chemicals in, which is used to process that sugar, which is almost indigestible. So, it causes problems. You know, very, very spicy food, especially with green chilies. These are causing a lot of problems in the tummy, and there are so many more. Those who you can, if you need to know more, I can give you a list of that, to avoid. But it's very important for you to follow certain rules and not leave everything to Healy. Okay. Spleen, pancreas, magical program for diabetics. Spleen is something that it is an organ that controls our acidity. Pancreas secretes insulin to digest the acid, okay, to control the acid as well. But pancreas is a very, very tiny organ. If you have high acidity, pancreas cannot continue secreting insulin and just stops working. And that's when you need external insulin in the form of tablets or injections, and you have diabetes and whatever. So spleen pancreas is an extremely good program. I would recommend you have it you use it at night. It will give you very good sleep, and it will also, help you heal your spleen and your pancreas, very well. Okay. The kidney. The kidney program of the meridians is excellent, but there is another kidney program in deep cycle, which I'll come to later, which I found even better. But kidney programs, I have used them with people who have, a creatinine count of 19.6. And how much should the creatinine count be? 0.9. So one of his kidneys had even failed, so it was that high. And I used this program along with Maghealy and also the other kidney programs and also the circulation program for him. And within 3 weeks, we brought the creatinine down from 19.6 to 2.3. And then, that happened in just 3 weeks. And then later on, as we continued working with him, it began to normalize. Okay. Now, organ meridian. Organ meridian, I would think everybody who uses Healy should use organ meridian once. This is a very healing program for all the organs. So it does a little of everything for every organ. So it keeps your organs in good shape. And if whether you're ill or not, organ meridian is something that you need to use. It really, really works. Okay. I'm a big fan of this program and I use it every day, absolutely every day. Next slide, please. And we come to the bioenergetic harmony programs. Okay. These programs are generally used for the energy body. Okay, you remember I explained about the sheath in the aura, which is the energy body, the pranamaya kosha. Okay, so these programs treat that energy body, the intestine harmony, for instance, the circulation. You saw circulation in the meridians, that is treating the actual organ, and the circulation in the bioenergetic harmony is treating the circulation of the energy body. Okay. Now the energy body, let me go a little deeper into the energy body so you understand. They say there are 72,000 channels to channel this energy, which are then operated to something, there are energy centers which are called chakras. There are more than 100 chakras, they say, but the main chakras are 7 chakras. And I'll come to that a little later. Okay. But this energy body with this 72,000 channels, which focus on the entire aura as well as influence the physical body, are so important for us that it is in good circulation. So this circulation happens is very good, especially for people with vata related issues, especially for people with too many thoughts, where the mind is constantly thinking. Gastrointestinal harmony, you use that program once or repeat it again, entire bloating and gas flatulence will just get emitted from your body, either through burps or through the anus. Okay, so gastrointestinal harmony is not needed on an everyday basis, but to target a certain thing. What is needed is on an everyday basis is why that gas is happening, how to control that gas, how that gas itself need not happen at such levels. Okay, addressing that is the more important thing. But if you have a problem, you have a lot of gas in your stomach and your stomach is feeling bloated and you're feeling uncomfortable, just take this program. Okay, bacteria harmony. A little while ago, I talked about microbes, about good bacteria, bad bacteria. It's very, very important for us to know that bacteria harmony, is we are in harmony with the bacteria in our tummies, in our bodies. Okay, so that is for that. Liver harmony again influences the energy levels of the liver. Food imbalance, again, food imbalance causes lot of problems, lots and lots of problems. So this is a very good program to use if you're feeling that you're feeling bloated and it's not digesting well or whatever. There are more programs. There's a program called Digest All in the Deep Cycle, which I'll come to later. That's also very good for food imbalances. Okay, next one please. Now, very important, right? What I had talked about earlier, the entire stress, the entire thinking that you do, influences your gut. So it's so important for us to have a very good mental and emotional health. It's very, very important. If your mental and emotional health is not good, okay, then you have problems in your physical body everywhere. So this is the most important part. So we have a program group called Mental Balance. And each of those programs are something else. Okay. Inner strength system, for example, will build up your inner strength to fight your fears. Okay, to fight the worries inside you. Emotional well-being, when you start feeling depressed or whatever, emotional well-being and feel good system are very good for such programs. Okay, such health issues, sorry, mental health issues. Contentment, you know a person who's content is in bliss. How many of us are content? Hardly any, right? Maybe an enlightened person, an enlightened master only. Okay, it's very important to be in content, to be in contentment state. Okay, contentment states is usually there in people, but sometimes it is very, very bad state, so that is called an acute state. Okay, so you have an acute program and you have a system program. Those who have addictions, right, addictions can be treated with contentment programs very, very well. Of course, not just containment programs, there are other programs also which are important. For example, if you have a smoking habit, contentment system is very important. Then circulation meridian is very important. Okay, emotional well-being is very important. So many programs, and also lungs and everything is very important also. So many programs have to be used, to treat your smoking habit. But contentment is the key to get rid of addictions. Okay. Inner unity. Inner unity is about your inner conflicts. Should I do this? Should I do that? If I do this, this problem. If I do that, that problem. You understand? So our mind is constantly in conflict of what to do, planning constantly, worrying constantly. Inner unity settles that. Well-being soul is about the soul, at a soul level to calm you down. Okay. Mental balance acute, when you have just too many thoughts, just use mental balance acute. Okay. Then there are many other programs. So what I did was, instead of listing the whole program group, I've just listed programs and given the program group, with a hyphen. So extreme tension, too many thoughts constantly for a long time. Use extreme tension at night. Use the program and then go to bed. This thing, in the morning when you wake up, you will be completely in a state where you have no thoughts. Now that will confuse you, because for several days or a large period of time, you've been having too many thoughts. Okay, but believe me, it is bliss. It is bliss when you have been in extreme tension for so long and suddenly you don't have those thoughts. So it's a great program. The stress system, which is in learning program group, also the system acute, whatever, is very good also. You deep relaxation in fitness, I would say, is a so-so program. I'm not very, I don't use it a lot. So whenever I've used it, I felt I needed other programs more than that one. So although it is there, but I don't recommend that one very easily. Coherence, extremely wonderful program. Now, what is coherence? Coherence is a program that makes your mind steady, so that you can listen to people, especially if you're in meetings, especially if you want to, if you're having problems, relationship issues, and somebody is yelling at you, you need to be coherent to understand that person. Just shouting at that person back again doesn't really work, right? So coherence is very important for such things. Now, when you're coherent, what happens? Do you know that when you're coherent, you're actually in the present moment? You're neither thinking of the past nor you're worrying about the future. You're in the present moment. So it's such a beautiful space to be in. You're in the space where everything is calm. And because everything is calm inside you, you can understand things better and make better decisions. So coherence is a program that any meeting I go into, I put coherence. Coherence is also there in Maghealy. And right now, I'll be honest with you, coherence is on in my room, on the Maghealy in my room here. Okay. Anxiety. I've used anxiety with a lot of people. It's part of the stimulation. Stimulation is also called pain psyche program group. And it is very, very effective for people. Okay. Insomnia, yeah, is a very good for chronic sleep disorders. Migraines, this program is brilliant, but I wouldn't recommend you to have migraines in the first place. So get your gut health improved with your meridian program so that you don't have migraines. Okay, migraines is nothing but high acidity. Okay, depression, okay, this is a brilliant program, used it for a lot of people, but I would recommend using it along with mental balance programs and also looking at gut health programs like meridian programs like circulation and all. Release, gold cycle release program, it's one of a super brilliant program. It is a release at different levels. It's a release at your mind level where you release all the negative thoughts that you have. You just release it, all the negative emotions, you release it. Okay. Then at a body level, you just release the stress, all the stress in your body, so you become more flexible. At a gut level, it even releases your constipation. So it can clear your stored feces also, and release that. So release is a magnificent program. Again, I recommend it at night. Next morning, you're super. Relax, gold cycle program, good. I don't use it that much, but it's a good program. Next. Okay, now we come to deep cycle and the power of three programs. Okay, the deep cycle clean all, very good program to work with your lymphatic system also, with your lungs also. Digest all, food imbalances, very good program to digest. Kidney harmony female, kidney harmony male. These two programs are life-saving programs. Kidney harmony, see, certain times when you do the Heal Advisor analysis, you might be a male, but you might get kidney harmony female showing up there. Okay, the recommendation is to use the kidney harmony female. I think we have a spelling error there. I'm sorry about that. I'll correct it later. So kidney harmony female program may come to you even though you're a male. Now let me explain why that happens. Okay. See, each of us have male genes as well as female genes. I am a female because my female genes are far more than my male genes. You may be a male because your male genes are far more than the female genes. Okay. But when you get kidney harmony female and you're a male person and it's showing up that your kidney harmony female genes need healing, then please use it. Don't think that there is a problem, because there is no problem. These are the genes where you have to work on them. You have both the genes, so you have to work on them. So don't say, no, this is not my program. I have to use only the kidney harmony male. No, you have to use the kidney harmony female too. Okay. Kidney harmony male is also good, but I have used kidney harmony female with a lot more male people than I have used kidney harmony male. Okay. Power of 3, friendly flora. Friendly flora is very good for your tummy. Okay, it's very important for you to eat the right vegetables. Okay, friendly flora gives you that. Vata program, again a brilliant program, calms you down because it reduces the air in your system at all levels. And when that happens, your mind calms down automatically. Pitta program, I've put it there, but I put it there to tell you not to use it. It's a brilliant program. It is too brilliant, and it can cause discomfort sometimes. So, if you don't know how to use this program, I would recommend don't use it, because pitta, it eliminates your pitta, and then you can get some boils and all on your skin at a skin level, because there is pitta underneath your skin layer and it's trying to eliminate that. So then people don't understand why that is happening. So I generally don't recommend Pitta program to people unless they are proper health practitioners and they know how to use it. Okay, or I am guiding them in detail. Don't get me wrong. It's a super brilliant program, but you need to know how to use it. Okay, next one. Okay, now we come to chakras. Okay, now we have, as I was explaining, there are several chakras, right? These are not physical centers. Please understand. These are in your energy bodies, okay? And they're connected via 72,000 channels, as I had explained, okay? Now, all the chakras affect our gut health. All. How? Crown chakra is at the top of your head, right? At the top of your head, where basically your thoughts can be, or your sense of well-being is. If your sense of well-being, it may not be thoughts, but your sense of well-being is poor, it will affect your mind. Third eye chakra, okay, or the Agya chakra, is a chakra where your thoughts are concentrated, the frontal lobe, okay? The crown chakra also influences the pituitary gland and also the areas, which control your long-term memories and also your hormonal systems. Okay. Third eye chakra affects your emotions, your thoughts, your belief systems also. Okay. More the negative thoughts, the more the problems to the body and your gut health. Throat chakra, when that shows up in your scans, basically throat chakra means you're upset. Ram, please help me keep sense of the time. Okay, I can go on and on, so please help me keep sense of the time. Okay, so throat chakra is affecting the throat, but throat is also related to your respiratory system, and in turn again related to your gut system. Okay, now heart chakra, your gut system affects the heart chakra, okay, and heart chakra affects the gut system. Okay, cholesterol is produced by your liver only. So 80% of cholesterol is produced by the liver. It's only 20% that comes from the foods and the oils that we have. Okay, if your liver is not functioning properly, your cholesterol problems will create problems for your heart. Okay, solar plexus chakra. Everyone who has digestion issues should use solar plexus chakra at least once a day. Okay, it's a brilliant program. Okay, sacral chakra is more for your kidneys. Okay, that is also something that affects your gut health. Kidneys, remember, are the one of the final organs after the gut work is done. Okay, the root chakra is about insecurity, especially insecurity about material things. If you're insecure about your properties, about your material wealth, about some relationships, also strong relationships, the root chakra will give you multiple problems to your gut health, because your thoughts will be like that, and that will affect your gut health. Digital nutrition. Digital nutrition, these are programs where, if you have constant gastrointestinal problems, you have to address your meridian programs, resolve your digestion, and also take this program. Kidney harmony, amino acids, alkaline powder. Alkaline powder, usually when acidity is very high. Blood harmony. Everyone who has diabetes or hypertension should use blood harmony program once a day, at least once a day. Absolutely brilliant program. Liver harmony, alcohol intake. I have seen people who don't consume alcohol also have alcohol intake coming up in the scans. Why? Because it is alcohol-like substances produced by your body because of the wrong foods you have eaten. Antioxidants, brilliant program, especially when you have tumors or serious health issues. Lymphatic system harmony, this is the program I used along with the meridian lymphatic system program to heal this person who had huge swelling in the legs because he had fourth stage cancer, and his lymphatic system had been completely affected, and he could not even wear his pajamas because he had that, his legs were swollen up to that level. So this again is a brilliant program. Okay, and I think that should bring us to the last slide. Next slide, please. So I'll talk about Maghealy. Okay, atmospheric programs of Maghealy. Whenever there is a problem at home between people, or people are not very happy, please put family harmony for a few hours. It settles people within 10 minutes. This is my experience. If you're eating, you would like to put this program, go ahead. When you're cooking, use the kitchen program. When you're stressed, use it. It just makes you, the stress just goes away in a few minutes. But better than stress is coherence. Coherence brings you in the present moment. So you don't have stress. You're in this moment and you can make better decisions. Energy program is also very good. Relaxation program is also very good. But I want you to also note that besides the atmospheric programs, there are other programs in Maghealy which can help gut health. I used classic programs called Cell Health with the kidney patients I have. Okay, the kidney program also works. Okay, then energy circulation also works brilliantly. But these are programs which you have to keep the Maghealy on your body. Okay, so it is like an individualized version of the Maghealy that you're using at that time. Okay, not just keep it in a room. And then water activation, cell harmony, the best thing to do. If you're healthy generally, then keep your cells healthier. Just on top of your jug of water, keep your Maghealy for 10 minutes. Okay, operating at intensity 70 to 80, and put the cell harmony program and use that jug of water the whole day. Okay, then there are other programs like nutritional transport and fasting, whether fasting morning, fasting noon, fasting evening. So the fasting creates more acid in the body sometimes, so you have to be careful how you fast, what you eat during the fast. Certain people say fasting and then they eat quite a lot of all the wrong foods, so you have to be very careful with this. Okay, so that also helps with it. Okay, I think I've come to the end of my presentation today. And I think we can answer any questions.
Uh, Sunila ma'am, we will take the questions on the chat if you have.
Okay.
Second thing is like thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing such beautiful insight. Right. So can I request you to please switch on your video, ma'am? I'm just sending you the yeah.
Oh, my video is off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
How did that happen?
maybe
I can't
maybe
put it on again for some reason. So,
just a second, ma'am. I'm just asking you. Okay, I think yes, you are here. Perfect. Again, it went off. Just a
I
second.
don't know why that's happening.
Okay. No worries, ma'am. No worries. I can work it out. Yeah, it's working now. Perfect. So,
Okay.
first of all, thank you very much for sharing such beautiful insights. I'm sure because you have been working very closely with Healy. Roughly, what I understand is it's more than around 4 years, and you have a lot of experience, a real time experience with a lot of people who are seeking help through frequencies, and that is the reason you could share so many things and you're so natural. That was the reason. And yes, all your experiences, all your I would say the interactions that you had with your patients, with your people who are seeking help from you, and you are providing seva to them, hats off to you, because there is a lot of experience that has gone into. And the best part is when we talk about gut health. So, gut health is not one aspect. And as you said,
No.
it starts from the mouth and it ends till anus. So it's a biggest organ in our body that we're talking about. And so beautifully you have compiled and you have clubbed, and it's a holistic way I could see it is covering each and every aspect when we talk about all the layers of our prana, covering every aspect of our body and existence. So once again, ma'am, thank you very much for sharing. Right. And
Thank
I
you.
think
I'm happy to help.
ma'am, thank you very much. And any questions if you have? So, Healy, Maghealy, and Wellness. It's basically we have designed it in such a way that at least once in a month we will definitely interact, and I'm sure Sunila ma'am has a lot of other exciting topics. I when I started jotting it down on the board, literally I felt constraint in our space. I went out of my space, but she was like speaking about these. Like there are a lot of aspects which we can cover. So thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing such beautiful insights, and most important, covering it end to end, giving a holistic solution for gut health with the help of frequencies.
Welcome. I'm happy to help, as I said. Um, I'm See, last year sometime, because of this side effect of COVID vaccine, I'm having some eye health issues. I'm much better, of course, and Healy has helped me tremendously in that. Other people who I know have had the same issues have almost gone blind, actually. Okay, so but Healy has helped me, but the chat is difficult for me to read right now. So do you want to read it out to me,
Uh,
Ram, or
So,
do you
ma'am,
want to?
what we will do is, because we have already crossed like 20 minutes ahead of the schedule. So what we will do is, I'll just compile all the chat and I'll send it to you, the text, and definitely we can have the answers, and we can talk about those questions in our next session, which we will have very soon. So let's do one thing. I'll just compile all the questions and I'll send it across to you, and we can cover it up in the next topic.
Okay.
So that would help, ma'am.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot once again for giving your valuable time and sharing the views, the experiences, such beautiful experiences with Healy and Mag Healy. Thank you very much, Sunila,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ram, and thank you to everyone who joined. And I hope you all have enjoyed the session. I'm very happy to be doing this. I'm a big fan of Healy and Maghealy. It's changed my life.
Great, ma'am.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sunila ma'am. And thank you very much, Healy family, for joining in and staying with us. And we will very soon come up with the chapter 2 of Healy, Mag Healy, and Wellness. So, till the time, stay tuned. Thank you very much. Good day to you all.
Bye bye.